Hey, good morning. Well, the house is pretty quiet here. I need to coffee up. I've actually got to do some track work today on our club railroad, and it's really difficult for me to be on my knees all day. Plus, we always check the gauge on the track that we're working on, so I thought, all right, let me see if I can combine a couple things. Number one, a little bit of a seat for myself and a track gauge all together. So now let's head out to the shop. Well, this is one of those projects that you just have a few minutes to get done, and you hope something will come of it useful. I'm sorry if I'm incoherent. It's still early in the morning. Anyway, this is a truck set and 7.5-inch gauge. And when you're working on track work, you're on the ground, obviously. We do have to check as we're working on the rail to make sure the gauge is consistent. So I thought, well, maybe I could take one of these trucks and fabricate a quick seat on it, and that way it'll give me a little place to rest my legs a little bit, and also just verify that there's not any pinching going on the rails. So, like I say, I only have a couple of minutes to get this done. I got to load up the truck and head out with the tools. So anyway, I'm going to put this together with just some scraps here in the shop really quick. I've got a bolt that will go down and a few scraps of wood. So I'm going to try and make a flat seat that will sit on this, be able to swivel just a little bit, and then I've got a pad that I use to protect my knees when I'm kneeling on the ground. Hopefully that will sit on top. I've got to add a little bit of height. I can't put it down this low. I'll never get down that far. So let me see if I can fab this together in just a few minutes, and we'll take it out and see if it's helpful today. Well, I got a few pieces from the scrap bin here, a little plywood, a couple of 2x4s. These are about the right width here. And my idea is I'll just take this bolt. I'll put a hole in one of these. This bolt will anchor down. I'll join these together really quick. Put this top on there. And then my pad can sit on this. And we'll see if it'll work. All right, let me fire up the saw. All right, these pieces are about 1 foot long. By the way, if you're half asleep and you want to find the center of something, you don't have to do a lot of taxing math in your brain, especially if you're half asleep. So you can just approximate the center. Measure in from one side, measure in from the other side, and then if the 2 points come together, perfect. If there's a tiny gap, you just split the tiny gap and that's the center. And the same for the width. 1 3/4. 1 3/4. Right there's our center. More coffee needed. Anyway, we're going to have to drill a little pocket out for the top of this bolt. So we need a Forstner bit. And even if you're not drilling all the way through, the Forstner bit has a little point, and it really wants to have either a very tiny pilot hole or no pilot hole at all. So we have to drill the wide part of this hole first, and then we'll come back and drill it out for the shaft. That'll work. All right, now for the rest of the hole. Perfect. Or as perfect as we're going to be at this time of the morning. Alrighty, so now we can put these two together at our top. Well, we don't need much holding power. Gravity is going to do all the work. So let me grab a couple of screws from the infamous junk screw bin. I'm sure everybody has one of those. Got a few leftovers for each project, and there's not enough of one kind to really deserve their own drawer or anything, so it goes in a big bucket like this, and every once in a while it comes in handy. Alrighty, well, you know, there are certain places where you really don't want a lot of slivers, so let's just hit the edge of this really quick. You know, now that I think of it, these corners might be a little nasty. I think I'll nip them off on the saw. Alrighty, there we go. Doesn't have to look pretty, and I don't have to upholster it because I'm going to put that pad on there. So we'll take it out with me this morning and see if it works. Well, I think that's going to work out great. Place for me to sit. Got our track gauges, and that truck will help us make sure there's no pinching points anywhere. But you know, we're going to be working today, as you can see here, on a slight incline. So although I don't want to show you boring pictures of us doing track work, I do have an idea. Maybe I'd love to see what this seat does by shooting downhill, but we'll get to that in a minute. Anyway, if you saw my last video about the destruction of that Gibbs Scenic Railway, these are some of the materials that we were able to salvage from that project. Thousands of dollars worth of materials. And then there's never a dull moment out at the railroad park. So here are a couple of guys rigging up this trailer. They're going to rig up some angle iron and this trailer as a weed removal device. Weeds are a constant battle for us out here, even though it's in the desert. So this will be kind of a fun project, and can't wait to see if these guys can rig this up. Anyway, torches and welders, common sight. Well, back to my experiment. Let's shoot this little seat downhill and see what happens. I don't know. Let's try it again, see if we can get a little faster speed out of it. That's a little better. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.